If you're over 30 and you aren't strength training, not only are you missing out on one of the most rewarding and gratifying and wonderful practices that there are out there, you're likely already sliding down a long, slow, and painful slope of physical decline. But I need to clarify, most people who think they're strength training aren't strength training. If they are strength training, they're definitely not doing it effectively. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what real strength training looks like, how to know if you're doing it correctly, and provide you with a very easy way to start. And if you don't know who I am, my name's Kyle Fields. I'm the co-founder of the Fort NYC Gym. We're a series of gyms in downtown Manhattan, soon to be in Brooklyn, and we coach over 1,000 New Yorkers in the most wonderful art that we call strength training. Let's start with segment one. I want you to understand what real strength training is. Strength training is not about big muscles. It is another word for capability. Specifically, it's your body's ability to create force in a given movement pattern. Think of it as pushing open a heavy door, picking up something heavy. That's your body overcoming the resistance of that pattern. When you strength train, you're teaching your body to move more force against heavier resistance. And in our case, that means weights. So most of your strength comes from not your muscles, but your central nervous system. And that's your body's communication network. It's like the wiring in your body that connects your brain to your muscles. It tells them how and when and how powerfully to contract or relax. The stronger this connection, the more force that you generate. Now, we've all heard stories about ordinary people lifting heavy cars to save loved ones in moments of extreme adrenaline. These events demonstrate that we have more strength inside us than we can consciously access. Strength training systematically uncovers this hidden strength by improving the efficiency of your central nervous system. True strength training involves lifting heavier weights for fewer repetitions, around 5 or fewer reps per set. Lower reps primarily train your nervous system to efficiently recruit muscle fibers. During more repetitions, that shifts the emphasis toward endurance and muscle building rather than actual maximal strength training. And this is where most other training systems kind of get it wrong, where you're doing reps for a period of time, or you're doing them for 10, 20, 30 reps at a time. There's nothing wrong with that. That's great. But it's not really the best way to develop strength, okay? Optimal strength training emphasizes compound movements, okay? These are big movements with barbells, squats. They involve multiple joints, and they require your entire body to contribute and work together as a unit to develop your ability to create those big forces that we're talking about with strength. Now, what else is great about barbells? They allow for precise incremental weight loading or reducing. This allows you to get laser focused in the weights that you're using week to week, so you can measure the progress that you're making. These movements recruit multiple muscle groups. It creates greater total strength in less time. Okay, this is the most important factor. You have to understand this. Not all exercising is the same. There's great different ways to exercise for a bunch of different outcomes. But in this video, we are primarily talking about strength training. You don't really need to worry about putting on a ton of muscle. That's not really the stimulus that's going to be happening. What's going to be happening is your brain is going to get better at telling your body what to do. And as it gets better, as it's communicating, as your brain is getting better at communicating with your muscles, those muscles will contract just right, more powerfully, just at the right time, so that you can create more force. You can move heavier and heavier weights and heavier objects. I'm not encouraging you to pump yourself full of adrenaline and go lift cars and flip tires. What I am suggesting is when you go to the gym and you practice creating more force against given objects, over time, your body will allow you access to more and more of the strength that you already have. And that's what strength training really is. All right, so let's move on to section 2. Strength training is one of the most powerful anti-aging interventions known to man. Around age 30, your body naturally begins to lose muscle mass. About 3 to 5% per decade, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you're a 200-pound male. And let's say you hold about 150 pounds of muscle mass. That's 7.5 pounds per decade. You had to add that up over a couple decades, and you're in the 20, 30, 40 pounds of muscle mass lost. And for a normal human being, that is a lot. So this process of losing muscle mass, it's called sarcopenia. And alongside muscle mass, your bones lose density. You become weaker. You become more prone to injury. Strength training reverses these declines. Studies consistently show regular strength training significantly increases muscle mass, increases bone density, and improves overall physical function. It doesn't just slow aging, it actively reverses key aging markers. For example, there was a landmark study in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research. It found adults who engage in consistent resistance training, they improved bone density, they reduced osteoporosis risk. Another study from the American Journal of Medicine showed that older adults who strength train for just 12 weeks significantly improved muscle strength and daily function. Strength training boosts metabolism, it regulates hormones, it enhances mental health. The practical takeaway: if you want to maintain independence and vitality as you age, strength training can't be optional. It must be essential. Okay, let's move into segment 3, optimal frequency and volume. How much should you be strength training? And what is the right amount? Frequency and volume are critical to results without overtraining and or undertraining. Research is pretty clear. 2 to 3 sessions per week is optimal, each lasting 45 to 60 minutes. I think the sweet spot is 48 minutes of hard training, if you ask me. This frequency provides consistent progress, full recovery. Volume means the total work done per session, measured in sets and repetitions for strength adaptations. And for strength adaptations, 3 to 5 sets per exercise with 3 to 5 reps per set is ideal. This allows heavy weights. You want heavy weights, to maximize strength adaptations and nervous system development without excessive fatigue. That would be like fatigue that you can't really recover from, or you can't recover from in enough time to train again. We want to be able to recover from the training that we do quickly enough to get back into the gym, train again, and make that process happen again. A common mistake is believing that more is always better. Effective strength training prioritizes intentionality, intensity, and recovery, not endless volume. And there is nothing wrong with endless volume. It's just not strength training. That is the key point to remember here. If you want to build endurance, you want to build more muscle, doing higher reps, doing more volume is a crucial part of that. But if your goal is strength training, if you're trying to get stronger, you got to keep the reps and the total volume managed. Each rep, it should be a challenge to do it well. Meaning you can't check out, you have to pay attention, you have to get it done. You have to really think about getting it done in order to get the training effect. And consistency is key. Sporadic sessions or just going through the motions isn't going to deliver a significant result. Now, I know some days you just don't have it, and that is understandable. It's more important to get to the gym and go through the motions than to not go to the gym at all. But if you're continuously going in and you're just going through the motions, you're exercising, but you're not really strength training. You're just going through the pattern. So you want to commit to fewer, more focused sessions weekly. You want to be progressively increasing the weights and monitoring your recovery. Remember, you should be able to recover to train again. That doesn't mean that you might not be sore, but you should be able to train again. If you notice your weight going down over time and you feel that you're getting weaker or you're just not getting any stronger, it might be a sign that you're not recovering enough. Your body's not yet ready for the level of intensity that you might be able to do, but you aren't able to recover from. Remember progressive overload. Your body gets stronger when progressively challenged. Slightly increase the weight week over week if the form is good, or keep the weight the same and focus on improving form. Make sure the form is solid. Don't be increasing weights when your form isn't pristine. If you don't know what good form is, there's a thing called YouTube. Get on there, look for like what is good form in a back squat. We have a bunch of videos on it, a whole library of videos. You can check them out and see what good form is. It's me performing the exercises exactly the way that I train. I load the weights exactly to the weight that I would be using so you can see what it should be looking like. All right, let's move on to segment 4. The biggest training mistakes after 30. Yeah, it might not all be pretty. There might be some issues along the way. And avoiding common mistakes is going to save you a lot of time, frustration. It will prevent injury. First mistake, inconsistency. Strength training relies on structure and a routine. Sporadic workouts or random workouts where you're not following what you did the previous week and just kind of doing what you feel like doing, it will fail to deliver any sort of meaningful strength progress. Second, training without clear progression. Each session you need to have intention. Okay, you need to be really thinking about what you're trying to do. And if that means that you're focused on executing with really perfect form with the weight that you really struggled with last week, or it's that you crushed last week and you're going to add weight that you've maybe never touched or never done for this many reps before, and you're really going to focus your best on getting it done safely, you have to have some intention behind what you're doing. Third common mistake, neglecting recovery. And this is easy to do, I understand, but this is where all the good stuff happens. The training is just the stimulus. Nothing actually happens during the training. It's just the catalyst. It creates the potential for something to happen. All the good stuff happens during the recovery. So you have to be able to recover from the training, and you got to set yourself up for success. Training hard is important. It's a big part of the process. But recovery is when your body gets stronger. You got to prioritize sleep. 7 to 9 hours. 7 to 9 hours. 7 on the low end, 9 on the high end. Do your best. I have absolutely noticed a huge difference in the outcomes that I get in the gym, particularly in the strength outcomes, when I'm getting good sleep. You got to get good nutrition, and you need to have good hydration. So hydration, this isn't just about water. This is about electrolytes, sodium. You need to be able to hold on to the water that you're putting into your body. You need to eat good food. You need to follow a plan that makes sense for you. We have a lot of videos where we've discussed this. I'll leave these, put those up there in the corner. And there's different strategies for different people, but it is very helpful if you can follow some sort of a strategy. Without recovery, performance deteriorates, injury risk increases, and motivation suffers. The fourth mistake that people often make is incorrect exercise selection and poor form. You want to choose compound movements performed correctly. These are the big barbell movements, the big patterns, the squat, the deadlift, the hip hinge. You want to seek qualified advice if you need it. If this stuff is way over your head, you want to go to somebody that spends more of their time doing this and see if they can help you out, or hire a professional. Lastly, fifth most common mistake is ignoring specificity. To develop strength, you have to train specifically for strength, not high reps or exclusively doing dance class or Pilates or yoga or HIIT. You have to prioritize strength if you want strength outcomes. And this is where I see so many people so frustrated, because they are picking up weights and they are not getting any stronger because they're not really strength training. You want to avoid these pitfalls by being consistent, purposeful, prioritizing recovery, maintain proper form, and focus on specificity.